Welcome back to another Jazz basketball breakdown. It's a good game.
For the second year in a row, we look like we're kind of out of the game at Toronto.
Right.
We come back, kind of start smacking them around second half, and take the game away from them to where their fans are walking out of the stands early.
Which we haven't seen much from opposing teams.
It's a new feeling, especially on the road, right? Yeah, all of a sudden, we came out like a different team second half.
Yeah, first half, very frustrating. Clarkson came back, obviously, and first half was very much of what I expected to see. A lot of kind of just putting his head down. We traded Tucker for Clarkson's head down, not getting anyone else involved, kind of feeling as we were going through the first half. And then all of a sudden, second half, mainly fourth quarter.
Fourth quarter, right.
He didn't just not put his head down. For the most part, took good shots, was setting screens off ball, not just coming to the ball, was actually spacing the floor and hustling on defense. I don't need you to be a lockdown defender. Right. Just try. And for the most part, in the fourth quarter, he did. I'm very happy with what I saw to Clarkson tonight in the fourth quarter.
Fourth quarter was
acceptable.
Fourth
quarter was...
And loved the lineup that we had on the floor around him, which is what you have to do.
Super smart lineup. We have four really good defenders next to him.
Yep. And we would have to do the same thing. Like it would have been trouble if we would have had Olynyk out there instead of Kessler. Olynyk affected so many shots close to the rim that he didn't block. Still had the effect on it. Names. Okay. So Kessler affected so many of the shots close to the names don't matter. You know what I mean. That were close to the rim that if we would have had Olynyk out there, it would have thrown the balance off.
Yeah.
So we had Clarkson out there who, like you said, we don't need you to be a lockdown defender. We don't need you to do what Chris Dunn was doing, what Ochai was doing. We need you to try. We need you, if you kind of run and close somebody out and they blow by you, we need you to hustle back and try and help with the rest of the team defense. But we had the right group around him, and man, did we lock them down. That was something.
And it's a really good lineup because Chris Dunn, really good at setting players up. So Clarkson, Markin, and stuff like that are getting easy looks. They don't just have to create their own shots. Mm-hmm. But two, on top of that, doesn't necessarily need the ball in his hands because he can go be impactful defensively. Agbaji does not need the ball in his hands. Kessler does not need the ball in his hands.
Yep.
You are allowing players around him who then fit for what Clarkson does.
Exactly. And even though Ochai, the last game, had a good handful of points, like you said, he doesn't have to. He doesn't thrive or feel that his identity out there is if he has a certain stat line or not. So that's why players like that are a luxury.
Yeah.
They'll take what they can get and be happy to support and help and sprint down the court.
And we ran with that lineup the entire fourth, and there was zero possible argument you could make on subbing any one of those five out.
Exactly. It was
down the stretch.
I really liked that. And it makes sense, to have a second scorer out there like Clarkson. I don't think that he was really you mentioned during the game that it's kind of annoying that anytime Clarkson hits a layup, no matter how easy it is, flame on! They're going crazy. I get that. They're trying to do a little, gimmicky fun thing for the announcers, but I don't think that he was flaming by any means tonight. I don't think that he got 30 points, but it seemed pretty rough. There are games where he is unbelievable.
Right.
And I don't think this was one of them. But it makes sense, sometimes to have two, really high-level scorers out there, but to surround with a defensive lineup, love that. But to be honest, I think that the star of the game was Chris Dunn.
Yeah. Yeah, he impacted this game.
Chris Dunn, before he hit those 2 3-pointers in the fourth quarter, I think he was 1 of 9 at that point.
Yeah.
Right? So obviously it isn't about his scoring, and he took some shots where he got the ball kind of late in the shot clock and had to shoot a 3. There was one, that he took the safety dribble, and we both knew that it was trouble as soon as he did that.
It's a sign of a not very good shooter.
Right. And he is not a good shooter, right? But the way that he impacted the game and made everybody out there around him better was phenomenal. And this is kind of what we talked about, where there was a possibility at the start of the year that Chris Dunn was going to be the starter and felt he should have been in a lot of ways, up until the handoff was going to happen to Keontae.
Yeah.
But man, was he fantastic. His defense.
8 points, 8 rebounds, 13 assists?
13 assists. And I think that he had 2 turnovers. One of them was he stepped on a dude's foot out there.
Yeah.
And fell down. It kind of wasn't him. The other one, he kind of a silly turnover. But The way that he makes everybody out there around him better. I told you early, I think it's second half probably, that I feel if Chris Dunn were to get the usage minutes and the amount of the times the ball going through him as we afforded Taylor Horton Tucker last year a lot and sometimes this year to do, I feel that he would have several triple doubles by now.
Yeah, for sure.
He's that impactful. And the way that he shut down, I keep wanting to say Dennis Schroeder. The way that he shut him down, who was the MVP of the FIBA World Cup, heck of a player. I think they're both similar players. Man, the way that he got into his business, he really had him frustrated.
Yeah, and speaking of him bringing that up, it made me think about it. I wanted to point out on frustrated that Kessler doesn't start tonight. He ends up, because he's playing so well, getting a lot of minutes and doubling Olynyk's minutes. But there was a play he made tonight that it was just like, that is a freaking elite big man, like elite rim protector. He was out on Schrader, had his hips turned. Schrader got him turned and went around him. He turned, readjusted, catches up, and puts it off the glass. That is a rare ability at his size to be able to make that kind of play with his hips and stuff like that. It's why he needs to continue to be getting development time.
And then turned around and sprinted and beat everybody back down the floor to the other side.
Yeah, 100%. I was so happy the way he played tonight. Fourth quarter was fun. The first half especially was so frustrating because we were just, Olynyk's getting his ass kicked by Scotty Barnes.
That's a rough assignment. Why would you ever?
Yeah, I saw that coming. And we were just running awful defensive lineups, making a team that's not very good look really good offensively, and they pride themselves in defense,
right?
And then all of a sudden it was kind of like and you even said it going to halftime, like, please make some adjustments, and he did. The adjustment was, we're just going to play 5 of you.
We're only going to play 5 people. The rest of you sit down and watch.
And it was the thing too. Sexton tonight really struggled. He made the adjustment and pulled Sexton. Right? That's what those types of players you need to do with them.
Yep.
Clarkson was more of the hot hand. Sexton was not. You pull Sexton, right?
I really like Sexton's energy third quarter. It was correct to adjust his minutes very much.
We went on a good little run with his energy too.
Mm-hmm. He came out and affected it well that way. I mentioned to you in the third quarter, I said, it feels like we're starting to manhandle them physically towards the end of the third quarter. And then the players came in the fourth and just absolutely clamped them down. Looking at it record-wise, these guys, Toronto is basically our equivalent of the Eastern Conference. They're in 12th place. They are similar record. The thing is,
same amount of losses now, and we have one more win.
Yeah. And so, if you look up the draft lottery stuff on Tankathon, I'm already looking at some of that stuff. It's kind of what you have to do. Yeah, we switched places with them. So instead of being 7th place team, I think we're 8th now.
Okay.
From the bottom. But very similar team to us, except for they have a lot more veteran players and high salaries. It'll be interesting to see what they do this offseason and moving on. People have been saying that they should have blown it up for the last year and a half now at least.
I was begging this team to blow it up when they drafted Scotty Barnes. When they drafted Scotty Barnes, I felt like they should have just gave him the keys to the kingdom and just spent years of he's the guy on the team and let him develop. And he's showing this year on why they should have been spending that time there and not on Siakam.
And he made some plays tonight in transition where, he's a couple of times in transition got matched up by Markkanen, and he shoulders him off and scores over Dunn. And you even made the comment, we needed Ochai's athleticism there.
And then Ochai starred, and it didn't matter.
The next time down, shouldered off Markkanen and put it up over Ochai. We're like, oh, man.
Yeah, it just incredible player.
He was 4 or 5 from 3 tonight. Heck of a player out there. Their GM, I wonder how long they're going to stick with him. Ujiri, he made the gamble a few years back with the Kawhi Leonard thing, and it paid off, right? They got a title that year, so it kind of has afforded him the right to tinker and play and hold on to players and not make moves. They lost Van Vliet in the offseason for nothing. There's a chance that will happen again.
With
More so, there's talk that Siakam may re-sign. just kind of watching some of the Toronto programs, but they feel that Anunoby may be the one that bounces and wants to
Yeah,
go
because
somewhere
he's
else.
wanted a bigger role for years.
Yep. He a couple of times tried to manhandle Ochai Agbaji and kind of out physical him.
Didn't work.
Did not work well.
Did not work. He had one where he bodies Agbaji heavily,
Yep.
goes to rise up, and Agbaji just takes it and then is on top of the ball in his face.
Yep.
He tried to do it a little bit later, and then they tried to throw it to him. He was covered, but it
inbounds
didn't matter
play.
because Markkanen just reached out of the air and picked it off.
It was an optical illusion. We had it all of a sudden.
That was what was so fun about this game is Markkanen was playing super physical. We know Dunn and Agbaji are going to come out and play physical.
Mm-hmm.
Kessler was playing physical. Like, it was just a physical battle in the second half that we took to a team that prides themselves in that.
Yeah, that part was very exciting to watch. And even players who I thought were playing fine, like Fontecchio, was shooting well and moving around and playing good defense. It just came to the point where we can't play in the fourth quarter because this group is running so well.
Can't sub anyone out.
Running so well. Would love to have seen Taylor Hendricks get some minutes. Didn't get any minutes out there. But I mean, our more veteran group kind of ran with it and closed out the game on the road.
Yeah.
John Collins, I thought, shot pretty well. There were some defensive miscues, but overall also didn't get in the game fourth quarter. It's fine. That was the right decision on lineups.
Yeah, the adjust. This was such a positive step for me as a fan watching Will Hardy as a coach because he took adjustments. He got kind of punched in the mouth with what his game plan was. I thought it was a bad game plan to start with, but
those zones the first half were horrible.
He came out in the first half, and you could tell it was a bad game plan. It wasn't working. Instead of being stubborn, which Quinn Snyder did that so much. Quinn Snyder was you put it on paper and you didn't do anything else. Will Hardy did not do that tonight. Will Hardy took what they did, came in the third quarter, and adjusted, but didn't just stop there. Adjusted to some things in the third quarter. It was still not quite right, and then made more adjustments going into the fourth.
Yep.
He continued to adjust. Great to see from a young coach.
And can I point out that for the fourth or fifth time this season, when we have stepped up and grabbed a game, snatched it, and looked like a team that really has an identity and knows what they're doing, it's because we showed a defensive identity.
Yeah, it's because the players, we are playing our very good defensive players.
Yep, and our defense is leading into our offense, right? Markkanen will give you shots and stuff wherever, kind of regardless, no matter what. But it's when our defense leads into our offense that we become a team. And we look like we belong out there. And it's a young, versatile defensive core outside of Chris Dunn. You know, Chris Dunn's what, 29, 30-ish? That's exciting. And I'm hoping that we can recognize that and not try to be an Indiana Pacers team that scores 140 points a game, but gives up 140, but really goes with what our strength is.
And that's the thing is, and we're just starting to see more and more little signs of the type of role player Agbaji can be, where he's showing more and more signs of a better passer, better out in the open floor, better finisher at the rim, things that he did not have last year.
He's evolving in his game to be an elite
awesome
role player.
Yes, yeah, fantastic, man. And tonight was fun. I was very concerned coming in tonight. I mean, if you've watched any of our videos, you know kind of both of our opinions on Clarkson, but you know my opinions heavily on Clarkson. And I have been not shy about that, and I will 100% gladly admit that, like, this fourth quarter was – I had more fun watching Jordan Clarkson in the fourth quarter since his six-man season. Because this is what he gave us. He'd come off the bench, he'd come in and give high energy, and he wasn't just a kind of me look for – my shot and I'm just going to run to the ball nonstop. He would space the floor and play within the team. I haven't seen him do that since that season till tonight, really, for the most part, in stretches, maybe once or twice.
And if he can do that, which he can, that's effort. He can.
Yes.
He can do, unless he's injured, he can. If he can do that and also be hitting some of his shots that he does, my goodness, we become
incredible. He is the sixth man of the year. And I wonder if part of it is that we are getting some more leaders within the locker room, but two, is Will Hardy starting to finally hold his players accountable? You noticed it during the game. During all this crap, Clarkson is just complaining to the ref about it was a stupid play by Clarkson, and he's talking to the ref and won't shut up to the ref. And you see Will Hardy yell at him, JC, and kind of yells something and points, and Clarkson kind of immediately just like, okay, and went and played some basketball. Clarkson complains a lot. He's bad about getting out of position by doing it. If our coach is now holding him accountable for those kind of things, and he responded how you hope a player will respond to a coach in that moment. So there was a lot of good things from our coach that I'm hoping is starting to kind of come out with the players.
And we have now back-to-back road wins.
Yes.
Even if it's against one of the worst teams in history in the NBA, we'll take it. That's big. We feel, I know that we've talked about it, we feel that if Clarkson is playing to his potential, he is somebody that could be awesome and really help this team and fit. I don't know if he's going to be that piece 3 years down the road when we really feel like we're in contention, right?
Right, with his age.
With the age. We feel that Sexton very much has the ability and the potential and has had a long string of games where he's playing well and really helps the team in his role and fits age-wise, timeline, contract, all the stuff. Neither of us feel that Taylor Horton-Tucker is.
No.
Yeah.
No.
His highest ceiling in his game does not fit with our team and where it's going. That's our opinion. Had a few guys, comment, say, "Oh, how can you say this about him? He's had good games," because it doesn't make the team around him better. It doesn't fit in our opinion. So that's where we're at. Hit us up with what you think.
Yeah, but I hope you guys had fun tonight. I had more fun than I expected. I had a lot more fun in the second half, and was very happy. I'm very happy with some of the things we're starting. Signs we are seeing from players, but signs we're seeing from our coaching staff. He is showing some growth. He's 35. He's still crazy young.
Sure.
Showing growth that we have expressed frustrations about. There's still a lot of things I'm going to complain about. That's what I do best. But showing growth and made me super happy to see. I'm more excited about that than anything else, than a win. I'm way more excited about that growth from our coach
for sure
than just a win.
And going into the Christmas break, Merry Christmas, everybody, right? Coming up.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing. It's been a busy week. I totally spaced what day it was.
Dude, I've been cruising around doing the psycho Christmas stuff with the kids and the family. Oh, my goodness, dude. So I'm going to hunker down in the house for a couple of days and try and survive. But we're going into the break on a couple of wins, exciting feelings. And we have the next game is on Tuesday against San Antonio. Wembanyama went out with a turned ankle today, so who knows if he'll even see him.
Didn't play tonight because he rolled his ankle on the ball boy.
In warm-ups.
Hey,
right?
Yeah. So hopefully we see him.
That would have been crazy to see him because what he's doing with the type of team that's around him is absolutely insane. It is unicorn/alien. It is
alien-esque.
That dude, we better get a heck of a team if we're gonna even think we're gonna compete and get through San Antonio and kind of some of the draft picks and stuff they have coming along with that guy over the next few years. So see them on Tuesday, but man, what an exciting couple of days off in seeing the growth of the team and the young players and who knows, we may convey our pick this year to Oklahoma City after all.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
For a while there, it seemed like it was impossible.
Now
it might happen with kind of some of the signs we're seeing and the way that we're moving. We could definitely get up because right now we're still 12th in the West, but we could close some of that gap with some of the signs we're seeing in the way that we're playing. Yeah, so that's exciting. That's fun.
Yeah, it's making these games more exciting than it was at the start of the year. So I'm all for it. I'm all for that growth. And like you said, Merry Christmas to you guys. Thank you guys for the support. Super fun and keep it going. Thanks, guys.